Have you ever heard of a city so magnificent, so utterly unique that event? The Qur'an declares the like of which was never created in any land, a city so grand, so awe-inspiring that its name. Iram still echoes through deserts and ancient scrolls cloaked. In mystery and reverence, this was no ordinary city. It was a marvel of architecture, a kingdom of staggering wealth, a civilization that rose with pride only to be swallowed whole by the sands of time mentioned in Surah al-Fajr. Iram is described as a place with lofty pillars towering, structures unmatched by anything known. But these pillars weren't just feats of architecture, they were symbols, monuments of ambition, dominance, and human pride. So, what happened to this majestic place? Why does it live only in whispers of revelation and scattered ruins buried deep beneath the Arabian sands? The Qur'an does not give us many details, but what it does reveal is enough to shake the heart of anyone who listens. Iram is a wearing a riddle, a forgotten tale of power, arrogance, and divine justice. And like all stories in the Qur'an, its message still breathes, still warns, still echoes to understand. We must first understand its people. The people of Ad, they weren't mere desert nomads. They were a tribe of power and prestige according to historical estimates and Islamic tradition. They lived in southern Arabia, perhaps near the fabled Rub al-Khalith empty quarter, a region so vast and harsh that even modern explorers tread cautiously upon it. The Qur'an highlights their abundance vast. Gardens flowing, springs, palaces carved into stone, and towers that reach toward the heavens. They had wealth, they had technology, they had control over land and trade, and they believed themselves untouchable, but their true downfall wasn't physical, it was spiritual. Their strength gave birth to pride, and pride gave rise to blindness. They saw only their own greatness, their monuments, their wealth, their power, and in that illusion, they lost sight of what mattered. They began to oppress. They began to rebel. They worshipped idols made with their own hands and forgot the one who had granted them everything. So in his mercy, Allah sent them a prophet, a man named Hudans. The voice of truth amidst the roar of pride. Hud wasn't an outsider. He was one of them, raised among their towers, familiar with their customs, fluent in their tongue. He asked for no wealth, claimed no throne. He only asked them to return to truth, to humility, to God. But pride, when rooted deep, clouds judgment. The people of Ad scoffed. Who is mightier than us in strength? They asked, laughing. Their downfall did not begin with war or famine. It began with denial, spiritual blindness. They could no longer see that their blessings were a test, that their greatness was a gift, not a guarantee. And yet Hud continued, patiently, gently, bravely. He reminded them of the nations before them, how they perished in arrogance. He begged them to see beyond their towers and idols. But to the people of Ad, his words were an insult. How dare he challenge their gods, their legacy, their very identity? The warnings became mockery. The prophet became a target. The truth became an irritation. But Hud did not stop. He stood firm, not in defiance, but in hope. He was not there to condemn, but to save. Still, they refused the turning point. Then the signs began. The rain stopped the crops, withered, the winds whispered strange melodies, but still they mocked. Still they challenged. Then bring the punishment, if you are truthful. And so it came, the storm that ended. An empire, it began subtly, an eerie stillness in Theskes, a silence that blanketed Iran heavy with foreboding. And then the wind arrived, not a breeze, not a storm, a wind sent by Allah, violent, icy, and furious. The Qur'an describes it as a sarsar, a raging, roaring wind that blew mercilessly for 7 nights and 8 days. Imagine that, 8 days of endless destruction. No dawn, no hope, no moment to breathe. It tore through their towers like paper. It uprooted homes and snapped palm trees like twigs. It hurled the once mighty giants of Iram into the sky and slammed them back into the earth. And then silence, the Qur'an says. They were left looking like hollow trunks, off fallen palm trees. The once majestic city was gone, its streets, its markets, its temples all erased. No voice remained to tell the tale, only dust, only ruin. Was it real? For centuries, travelers have wondered, was Iram just a myth, or did it truly vanish under divine wrath? The Qur'an confirms its reality, yet its exact location remains a mystery. Some say it lies buried in the Rub al-Khali. Some whisper of ruins near Shower Oman, where ancient water systems and collapsed limestone structures hint at a forgotten civilization. Even satellites have revealed ancient caravan routes converging in that region. Could that be Iram? Some call it Ubar. Some call it legend. But the Qur'an calls it truth. And it reminds us Iram wasn't lost toniture. It was taken erased by divine command. Not because it failed in architecture, but because it failed in spirit. Iram is a spiritual symbol. To mystics, Iram is more than a city. It's a metaphor, a condition of the soul. A soul that builds fortresses of ego, that decorates itself in pride, that mocks divine truth and calls it madness. And when the voice of Hud comes to awaken it, it resists. It ridicules, it rejects, until the storm comes. Just like I am, such a soul collapses, not from weakness, but from the weight of its own arrogance. But here lies the beauty of the story. It's not meant to condemn, it's meant to awaken. The pillars still speak. Iram's pillars may be buried, but its message stands tall. No civilization is too grand to fall. No person is too powerful to be humbled. No pride is too rooted to be shaken by truth. And perhaps that is why Allah placed this story not in history books, but in the Qur'an to be recited, to be remembered, to be reflected upon for those who truly listen. Iram still speaks, not through ruins but through warnings, not through silence but through the thunder of divine truth. A final reminder, the world today is full of new IAMS nations boasting of strength, economies glowing with wealth, societies filled with innovation. But beneath the shine lies a familiar danger, the temptation to forget to claim we built it all with our own hands, to trust in our might, not in our maker. Iran was not destroyed. In one day its fall began with a subtle shift. In the heart, a slow drift from humility to hubris. And so the story of Iran is not just history, it's prophecy, it's a mirror. We must ask ourselves, are we building monuments of pride or legacies of faith? Are we listening to the voice of Hud, or waiting for the storm? Because in every age I am rises, and in every age I am falls.